I would like you all to raise your right hand like this and repeat after me. I will defeat poverty.
I will defeat poverty.
I will defend the planet.
I will defend the planet.
And I will demand equity.
And I will demand equity.
Okay, every hand's up. And thank you all and have a good evening.
Fatiha Ayat, and let me tell you a little bit about her. She's a child rights activist, climate change campaigner, and the founder of an organization called CHILD. CHILD advocates for climate response, health, learning, information, and development. She's authored 4 books. She's a certified Android and iOS developer. In 2018, at the age of 7, Fatiha addressed the International Youth Day Conference in the United Nations ECOSOC Chamber on Global Warming and Climate Change. In 2019, she addressed the 74th United Nations General Assembly on the topic of domestic violence and gender inequality. In 2021, she contributed as a stakeholder in drafting the Glasgow Agreement for the UN Climate Change Conference in Scotland. Her list of awards and accomplishments is extensive. At 10 years old, Fatiha is already a formidable change maker, and she is a powerful ambassador for sustainable development. We are absolutely thrilled to have her. Please welcome Fatiha.
Good evening. And thank you, Ms. Danella, for introducing me. But I would like to introduce to you all a friend of mine from Bangladesh whose name is Lotifa. She lives with her mother, who works in a battery recycling facility just next to their slum. Before I entered this event today, Lotifa texted me that unlike her, I should not forget that I promised I would mention her story in my speech today. Because she knows best how it feels to forget important things. Besides loss of memory, she is also suffering from learning difficulty and development delay. And this was caused by that battery recycling facility, which was polluting the air and water around them and causing lead poisoning. And it's not just Lotifa. Up to 800 million children all over the world have blood lead levels greater than 5 micrograms per deciliter, the level which can have grave consequences, including the breakdown of the central nervous system. Which is why my first call to action to all of you today is to please advocate alongside BRAC and come forward and set a leading example to promote healthy families and communities. Listening to the stories of today's panels, I recalled the story of one of my pen pals, Odete Kagami from Rwanda, whom I met online during the pandemic. And she told me that she lost both her parents in the genocide in Rwanda when she was only 2 years old. So she grew up in a teeming refugee camp along with the family of her uncle in eastern Congo. Now she is 30 years old. She used to work as a trainer in an IT company teaching computer literacy to the youth, but that shut down due to the pandemic. So now Kagami is afraid of returning to another refugee camp. Hence, my next call to action to all of you today is to please support BRAC and provide a range of financial services to people at the bottom of the pyramid. Help BRAC to focus on women living in poverty, in rural, hard-to-reach areas, to create self-employment opportunities, build financial resilience, harness women's entrepreneurial spirit, all by empowering them economically. During my last speech in the United Nations, in the conference called Digital Innovation for Youth Climate Action, which was September 9th, just a couple of weeks ago, I met Mr. Maurizio Martina, the Assistant Director General of Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations. And when he heard that I was from Bangladesh, he asked me about BRAC and Sir Fazle Hasan Abid. Because he was from the FAO, I told him one saying, of Sir Fazle Hasan Abid. Defeating hunger does not depend only on the science of food production. It requires us to address the problem of powerlessness among the poor. Listening to this powerful statement, Mr. Maurizio was dumbfounded and flabbergasted, and he promised me that he would propose my name to work as the Goodwill Ambassador of FAO, which is why I am deeply indebted and obliged to Sir Fazle Hasan Abid. It is from that compassion that I am calling to you all to invest in the farmers who took the responsibility to feed the people of the planet, where they themselves are on the front lines of climate vulnerability. Please help BRAC elevate farmers and their families out of hunger and malnutrition into a safe, secure, and sustainable livelihood. Today we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of BRAC, a grand silver jubilee. Although the journey officially started in 1972, whoever explored the life and lessons of Sir Fazle Hasan Abid must know that this all triggered in his head during the devastating cyclones of 1970, killing almost 300,000 people in the southern coastal regions of Bangladesh. Hence, my next call to action to all of you today is to please support BRAC's humanitarian response program to help the families rebuild, recover, and prevail. Help BRAC to meet the basic needs, inspire resilience, and foster self-sufficiency for those affected by a crisis, whether human-made, a natural disaster, or a disease outbreak. I would like to end my remarks today by mentioning the prime character of my story, Ikra. My story is called Diary of a Muslim Kid, which is this one. And Ikra, she faces cyberbullying because of her Muslim attire, or mainly this hijab or headscarf that I am wearing right now. Although this is complete fiction, research has demonstrated that there are serious consequences of cyberbullying, including lower self-esteem, increased suicidal ideation, and a variety of emotional responses, etc. In fact, 37% of the young people aged 12 to 17 have been cyberbullied at least once in their life. Hence, my last call to action today to all of you is to please champion BRAC's youth programs and enable the children and the youth to reach their full potential. And I would like to thank all of you for joining in this program, because so many of you here are important supporters and advocates who have helped BRAC address these issues and problems. I would like to end my speech today by saying one line.
I would like you all to raise your right hand like this and repeat after me. I will defeat poverty.
I will defeat poverty.
I will defend the planet.
I will defend the planet.
And I will demand equity.
And I will demand equity.
Okay, put your hands up. And thank you all, and have a good evening.